Hey, everybody, welcome aboard The Shallows, the pod designed specifically for all you 10-team and smaller league managers. I'm your captain, Eric Henriksen, alongside chief mate Carson Picard. Carson, how are the C's faring today?
It's opening day as we're recording this, which is on a Wednesday. By the time you're listening to this, it's going to be over the weekend. And also it's opening day only for 2 teams. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it. It is finally the time of year when we're going to hear the cracks of the bats and everything. Eric, I am ecstatic about the year. I am so happy.
Hopefully you all subscribe to Netflix because you can watch the first game on Netflix. That's weird. But, you know, I guess the sports is now streaming everywhere. So, Yankees, Giants opening the season today. I'm really excited. I've got my Yankee hat on. I've got a Yankee jersey on. Carson, I see you've got your Twins gear on. Twin Cities, the cream color.
I know, my fancy little jersey here. I think these are some of the best uniforms in the league. I'm overjoyed. I'm a little preemptive here, and viewers, you'll know the results of these games by the time you see and listen to this. But man, we made it, Eric. We made it.
We made it. It's finally getting warm outside too. And you know what that means? Because we've made it, we have set sail. That's right. The season has gotten underway. On today's show, we have the captain's report. Who made the team and who didn't? Meaning who got optioned to the minors, Jason Dominguez. We have our draft results, who ended up on our teams. We're just going to kind of run through the guys that we drafted most over the course of draft season. And then we have a new segment for you. It's called Charting the Course. It's opening day hype and how not to overreact. And we have a special edition of the Captain's Report, by the way. It's going to be really fun. But before we officially leave port today, we have set sail, as I said. We release a new episode every Friday. The audio version releases at 11 a.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. And the video version premieres on YouTube the same night at 8 p.m. Eastern, if you want to see our beautiful made for radio mugs. So be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave us a 5-star rating, a like, a thumbs up, a kind review. And don't forget, we're part of the Pitcher List Podcast Network, so check out the other pods we have available. There are new episodes out daily, and visit pitcherlist.com for all the latest and greatest content published daily as well. And Carson, we have some exciting news for you. You will be hosting another podcast on the Pitcher List Podcast Network.
That's absolutely right. Thank you very much, Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to hear more of my lovely, slightly nasally voice, I will be taking over the First Pitch podcast Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for kind of indefinitely over the year here. And I'm very excited to do that. So you will get to hear me 3 more times a week.
Your voice is not slightly nasally. It's definitely slightly Midwesterny, though. I will say that. So when we come back, we have the Captain's Report, a special edition of the Captain's Report. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Shallows. This is the Captain's Report. Who made the team and who got options? So basically, if you want to put it in nautical terms, who we let stay on the boat and who we put on the dinghy and just let them go out to Byron Buxton. And who else did we put out there? Devin Williams, on the life raft way out there over the course of the last few weeks as we're doing our position previews. So in this special edition of the Captain's Report, we're going to talk about, again, who made the team, who got options, but then we're going to talk about our season predictions. So let's start with who made the team. We have Mick Abel in Minnesota, Connolly early in Boston, a hot waiver wire pickup here for week 1, Chase DeLauder in Cleveland, J.J. Weatherholt in St. Louis, and Kevin McGonigal in Detroit. Not really much to say there about other than, what do you think about Mick Abel? Give us your Twins fandom there for a second.
Well, I would be honored to do so. I like Mick Abel a lot. I said in the last pod, I'm kind of quite bullish on the Twins rotation relative to, I think, a lot of people. Mick Abel was a top prospect for years. The Twins have done a very good job at getting a lot of hard-throwing guys to have really nice control. You look around their rotations over the last few years, very low walk rates on those guys. I think it's a great spot. And with the Twins, they're going to have a long leash for their guys. So I'm personally quite optimistic on Abel. And if I wasn't beaten to the punch, I'd have some shares with him.
Yeah, he had increased velocity all spring, showed increased strikeout ability, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So he's a really exciting week 1 waiver wire ad or pre-week 1. If you did what we told you to do, which was draft injury stashes at the end of your draft, Mick Abel's a good pickup. So is Connolly early, starting in the rotation for Boston as well. And of course, DeLauder, Weatherholt, and McGonigal will be lineup mainstays for their respective teams. Who got optioned? Well, the big name, Connor Griffin, favorite of the show. Jason Dominguez, who I teased in the opener. Bryce Eldridge in San Francisco. Zebby Matthews, for your Twins, got sent down for Mick Abel, if I'm not mistaken. Dylan Cruz, Logan Henderson, and Peyton Tolley also were optioned as well. Anyone you want to single out there?
Bryce Eldridge is kind of an interesting name. He's been seemingly a guy that's been a little without a position. Now that they brought in Rafael Devers, that corner infield slot, it's going to be a little tricky. And no one really knows exactly what's going on there. I think he's an interesting name to keep in the back of the mind. Certainly later in the season, likely going to be an injury call-up. And maybe if he performs well, he'll stick around. Jason Dominguez, obviously, him getting sent down is a surprise. But of course, as we know, the Yankees, once Stanton goes down in 2 weeks, will be called up quite shortly. And maybe the most interesting one for me, Dylan Cruz. My goodness.
Woof. Yeah. Dylan Cruz was drafted in any league that I had partaken in drafting before that news broke, and he has since been dropped in every league that he was drafted in that I'm a part of as well. I don't think he's worth stashing if you have an NA spot. He hasn't shown anything in the major leagues. We talked about that. I think Dominguez getting optioned is the biggest one there, not because, as you can see, if you're watching, I have my Yankee hat on, 2008 All-Star Game patch, but it's because he had an electric spring at the plate, and Trent Grisham did not. Trent Grisham had like a regular Trent Grisham season at the plate. He hit very poorly, and Dominguez was great. However, the defense for Dominguez is the problem, which is why he was sent down. For everyday playing time, it's fine. I'm sure, like you said, he'll be up in 2 weeks. We both checked our watch on that.
We checked our watches that we're not wearing.
I am wearing a watch.
Oh, are you? Oh,
I'm
not. I'm completely there.
Yankees colors on the watch too. It's a gray and a navy.
He's festive.
I am very much into it today. So that doesn't feel like the normal Captain's Report. Here's the special edition. We have our season predictions here. We've got our MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and our World Series winner. First up, we have our MVP. We have our main picks and our dark horse picks for each one of these categories. What we're not going to do is pick the obvious. Neither one of us are going to pick Judge or Ohtani for our MVP candidates for this season. So first up, we have our main picks for MVP. Carson, who are the two names that you have? One for the American, one for the National League.
For my American League pick, it's not like the craziest, but I think he's just so dynamic. You have to mention him. Bobby Witt Jr. showed this World Baseball Classic. He is, dare I say, the best defensive shortstop in baseball. He adds that spectacular glove to a tool set that comprises phenomenal contact ability, pretty strong power, a little more home run ability in Kaufman, by the way, this year. And not to mention really good base stealing. He's an all-around dynamic player. He's the third best player in baseball. And I think he could give even a healthy Judge a run for his money. If, for whatever reason, something goes down, I think he's a sensational bet. The other guy, maybe someone who would have been an MVP frontrunner a few years ago, is Fernando Tatis Jr. I think he's been bubbling under that big electric year that we saw a few years ago from him. He's obviously hyper athletic. He is a dynamic force wherever he goes. And if he gets on a hot stretch and that lasts, like Mookie Betts went on a hot stretch a couple years ago that made the MVP race a little more interesting in the NL. He goes on one of those and has a really strong defensive season, graded and right. Absolutely. I think he's got a great shot.
I am going to pick in the American League a guy who has kind of carried his team to the playoffs multiple years in a row for a team that yes, very much to your chagrin. He does hail from the American League Central. This is a guy who goes wildly underappreciated. He is wildly underpaid as well. That is Jose Ramirez. I'm going to take as my American League MVP pick. The only reason I think J. Ram hasn't won it is because Judge is in the American League. It's
So
just
much
unfortunate
talent
for him.
there. Otani with the Angels, of course. And
Yes, yeah. So poor J-Ram has never taken home the hardware for MVP, but he is the reason Cleveland is competitive offensively. So I'm going to take J-Ram. And then in the National League, I'm taking a guy who came back from his second major knee injury in the middle of last season and just hit the cover off the ball, showed that no ill effects. I'm going to take Ronald Acuna as my National League MVP. He's just phenomenal. He's just on another level. He really is. So moving on to Darkhorse. Carson, who was your Darkhorse American League and National League candidate for MVP?
for my dark horses, I mean, these are always interesting to talk about dark horses for MVP, and it's always a sort of question of how off the wall do I want to get. And this one isn't that crazy, but folks, Wyatt Langford had a great year last year. He's very young. Like, he's about as young as I am. And if video people, you know about how young I am. I'm 23. My birthday last week. And
Hey, happy
I
belated.
thank you, Eric. This is a better birthday present than anything I got that day. Baseball is back. Huzzah.
Hey.
Anyway, Wyatt Langford, really talented, really excellent. He had a really good year last year. If he kicks it up a notch, I think he could absolutely tear everything up. And I don't even know how many times we've mentioned him on the podcast by now. If I had a nickel, we would have about 60 cents. Ketel Marte in the National League. He is so good. If he plays 160 games, which is not very likely, but if it happens, I mean, he's been an MVP consideration before, back in 2019, even a couple of years ago. Just one of the best hitters in baseball, straight up. And that at second base is going to drive the WAR up the roof.
I love the Langford pick. I'm a big Wyatt Langford fan. Unfortunately, in all of my leagues, he did not fall to me. He was definitely someone guys were reaching for in drafts. More on that in a minute. My dark horse picks for MVP in the American League, I'm going to take Nick Kurtz, carries the Athletics to a playoff berth, hits, let's just say, 50 homers, hits
Honestly,
300, not out of the realm of possibility.
I like the Athletics this year, and we're not going to actually talk about like that. They're not making my World Series picks, guys. But like, I think the Athletics are going to be a fun team. They've got a lot of cool bats, and Nick Kurtz, man, what a season!
Yeah, the only thing I think that's going to hold back the Athletics this year is their pitching is not very good. And then, of course, they play in a minor league ballpark, but their hitting is actually really good. They have a major league lineup now. You couldn't say that a couple of years ago about them, but they very much have a competitive major league lineup. My National League pick is going to be none other than EDLC, Ellie De La Cruz. Okay, look, this man had what many consider a down year last year. He was playing through a torn quad, and he was playing through the death of I believe it was his sister. And this guy didn't miss a game. He just kept going. Now, okay, he did not steal 60 some odd bases. That's fine. He still hit 22 home runs. He still had a very good season. Through a torn quad and a death in the family, a close death. Take that stuff out of the equation, put on 10 pounds of muscle. EDLC is going to carry Cincinnati to a playoff berth this year. May that hint at my World Series pick? I don't know. Stay tuned for that. Moving on to Cy Young. We are, again, like we didn't pick Otani and we didn't pick Judge. We are going to not pick Skeens and we're not going to pick Skubal. Too obvious. And dare I say, I don't think we're going to pick Crochet.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, none of the Orcas.
Yeah. So we are going to first start with our main picks for Cy Young. Carson, who do you have in the American and National League?
In the American League, I've got your guy taking the mound tonight, and maybe he did so terribly, in which case I'm going to look a little silly. I think Max Fried, on a rate basis, has been just one of the best pitchers in baseball from a run prevention standpoint in a while, and maybe he just turns it up a notch. I mean, that's what it's going to take, honestly, to have any of these guys win the awards over the mainstays or something else to happen. But I think Max Fried has been consistently excellent, and like I think about Fried. And he's always seemed like he's been second fiddle to some of the really big talents wherever he's been, but also just in general in baseball. But he's been sensational for years now. I think he's got a shot.
Sorry, the thing that concerns me about Fried is the blister. because last year he was on Cy Young trajectory, and the blister kind of derailed his season there for a little bit in like July and August. And then he's had forearm scares in the past, so I'm a little worried as a Yankee fan. See the hat?
Well, he's
But
playing in the Bronx now. He'll have thicker skin. That's a
he,
blister joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's a blister joke.
Who is your National League pick
My
for Cy Young?
National League pick is Logan Webb, who led the National League in strikeouts last year, who has consistently been one of the better pitchers in baseball. And I just think he's got more swing and miss stuff now than he has in years. And he's more than just a guy that gets a 60-something ground ball rate. I think San Francisco's defense has gone from like horrible in a few years ago to really, really great with Adames, with Jung-Hoo Lee. They've got Chapman on the corner. And of course, Patrick Bailey behind the dish. Love him. Just love him. I love Logan Webb to death. We'll come on him to a bit. He's on all my teams because I love the guy so much. I think he gets his hardware, maybe.
And he starts tonight against the Yankees. My main picks for Cy Young in the American League, I'm going to take Logan Gilbert. I've been a Logan Gilbert guy since he got the call. His strikeout numbers took a step forward last year, even though he did miss some time with a forearm scare. The innings will be there as long as he's healthy. I think Seattle is a very good team. I think Logan Gilbert has a very good chance of taking home the hardware this season. And then over in the National League, this pains me just because of the team he plays for. But I'm going to pick Freddie Peralta because he has been wildly consistent over the course of his career. If you read our content on pitcherlist.com, you know Nick Pollock calls him Professor Chaos. But Freddie Peralta, I really do think, is going to have a stellar season in Queens for the Mets. And I really like him taking home the National League hardware for Cy Young. Dark Horse, Carson, American and National League. Take it away.
I'm turning back the clock a little bit for these guys. My American League pick is going to be Jacob deGrom. Still weird he's in the American League. And my National League pick is Sandy Alcantara. I still don't know.
Alcantara.
Is it Alcantara? Fantastic. I'm taking him. Jacob deGrom last year had 30 starts through 172 innings, if I recall correctly. And he was really good. He was really good. And it was a kind of year where I think if you're a little bearish on deGrom, you could say some of his batted ball against metrics weren't fantastic. The velo dropped a little bit. The strikeouts were down. If you're bullish, though, you can say he was probably a little uncomfortable early on. And I think he kind of was pacing himself, making sure he could. I think his second year coming back from this could be fantastic. He's up there in age, but just the pitch ability and command he has is borderline unmatched across baseball. And then Sandy, this may sound a little weird because you say, didn't Sandy have like a 5.5 ERA? Yeah, but he also on a like per pitch basis, everything graded out well. I think it was an off year for him in a similar sense where he was coming back from injury or being banged up in Sandy's case, and things were just odd. But what do you look for when a pitcher comes back? Is the velocity good? Yep. Is the movement good? Yep. Is the locations pretty solid? Honestly, for Sandy, yeah, it kind of was. I just think things didn't click.
Yeah, look, it's tough to bet against the two former Cy Young winners, and I really like your deGrom take there. Big fan, mostly because I'm heavily invested in him too. So hopefully he does well and stays healthy. Knocks on wood. My dark horse picks for American League and National League Cy Young are Kyle Bradish in the American League. When he's healthy, he is an ace. Period.
Yeah.
Done. Like no more analysis really needed. He is so good. Coming off Tommy John surgery, we saw him at the end of last season. Now we're going to see him for a full season coming off the surgery. I just think he is primed, especially with that Orioles team. That whole team is primed for a bounce back. I think Bradish is just a great dark horse candidate that you wouldn't necessarily automatically think of when you think of Cy Young winner in the American League. And then moving over to the National League, I'm going to take Nick Pivetta. You want to talk dark horse, like a guy who's only one time in his career had an ERA under 4. That was last season. He didn't go anywhere. He's still pitching in San Diego. You know, he's just maybe found something. So you want to talk about dark horse? Why not Nick Pivetta? He had an ERA sub 3 last year.
I like it. He's always had kind of gnarly stuff, but hasn't been able to quite make it work. I think, yeah, I can see it.
Moving on to Rookie of the Year. Carson, your main picks in the National League and American League.
Gonna be Nolan McLean, man.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, he is so fun. And I'm not even like the most bullish guy on him. There are many people that think he is like not just like the real deal, but like we could talk about him for the Cy Young stuff. But I think it's tremendous confidence that he went out in the World Baseball Classic, pitched honestly pretty good there during that start against Venezuela, and also just being able to break camp as a rookie, join a Mets rotation that's going to have huge expectations. I think, yeah, absolutely. If he performs, he's got the stuff to. It's going to be a matter of if he can put everything together and to stay healthy. I think he's got it. And then in the American League, I'm going to break some rules and pick two. Kevin McGonigal is a very boring pick, but a very good one, I think, because he's going to probably play every day for a Detroit Tigers lineup that is not terribly good. And then I'm going to take Samuel Basallo, who will probably get, dare I say, I would be very optimistic on that, the fact that he's a qualified hitter this year. Which for a catcher, a guy with catcher eligibility and stuff, is pretty rare. But with Basallo, I think he's going to have a lot of DH first base day. Well, probably not first base because beat Elijah, but a lot of DH days. He's going to get some workload in him, and the bat speed's ridiculous. He's got so much raw and game power. I like him.
I actually think Basallo, and we didn't really talk about this during the spring as we were going through all our players and our position previews. Basallo has a very good chance of getting first base eligibility because if you think about it, he's going to catch behind Rutschman. And then when they want to give Alonso a DH day, he's going to play first base.
Yeah.
So, and otherwise, he's going to be the starting designated hitter. And I saw a side-by-side video of him and Yordan Alvarez's swing. It was like a spitting image. Let me tell you, Basallo has preternatural abilities with the bat, and I just think he is you wrote him down before I could. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's so much fun.
I took aim. Actually, you know what? I'll save this for our next segment. I took aim at Basallo, and I'll tell you, it wasn't for catcher. So that's a little tease. Stay tuned. I'll explain that more a little bit later. My Rookie of the Year main picks are if he can stay healthy. That's literally the only asterisk to me because you picked Basallo first and McGonigal. For the American League is I'm going to pick Chase DeLauter. Chase DeLauter has the opportunity to hit behind or in front of Jose Ramirez. He has really good bat-to-ball skills. The only issue he's had is for the last 5 years, that includes the minors and college, he has not been able to stay healthy, and it has been a foot injury that's been his kind of downfall. He was a very highly rated prospect in the Cleveland system. He's made the team coming out of spring training. He had a very good spring. He hits the ball incredibly hard. I am a big fan of Chase DeLauter, again, if he can stay healthy. In the National League, I mean, if I had a nickel every time I mentioned him in the spring, I would also have 60 cents. J.J. Weatherholt for St. Louis, I think he's going to be the best hitter on that team, period, this season.
Really?
I think...
Yeah.
Other than Ivan Herrera, who's going to be a better hitter than him?
My guy.
No, all right, fine. We'll go J.J. Weatherholt as the National League Rookie of the Year. Carson, Darkhorse Rookie of the Year. Go for it.
In the American League, I'm going to have another Baltimore Oriole. I'm going to say Dylan Beavers. Big, strong. I think he's what, 6'5" lefty. Just boy. A ton of pop. He's like someone that I was looking at through draft season and just thinking like this guy, I think on a rate basis is so good. And if he's able to be as effective as I think he could be with the bat, he's going to force his way into that lineup. And I think he could just tear it up. The question may be defense and if there's a place for him, but I think he's a really fun sleeper for Rookie of the Year and even just in general fantasy. And then my second pick is going to be the guy that isn't really that much of a sleeper, but absolutely everyone should roster him. Sal Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. Sal Stewart is so good. I don't have too much analysis to say about that. You talked about the Reds earlier. Here's a Red that I think is fantastic. There is a pretty decent chance. I'm not going to say like it's a great chance. I wouldn't be surprised if Sal Stewart's the most valuable player on the Reds this year.
I could 100% see that.
You see, he's just so exciting, and there's so much hype around him. And I think, yeah, I can buy it 100%.
Good bat to ball skills, hits the ball really hard, makes a lot of contact. Loud contact is another way of saying the two things I said before that. And he's got a path to everyday at bats, and he plays in Great American Small Park. I love Sal Stewart, man. He was a target of mine also through draft season. My dark horse candidates, I'm going to start in the National League for a reason here. I know we've been going American League, National League, but I'm going to start in the National League. I'm going to say Andrew Painter. Former number one pitching prospect in baseball, went down, needed Tommy John surgery at 19 years old, could throw 100 miles an hour. Now he's sitting more in the high 90s, 96, 97, can touch 98. Still has nasty stuff, had a very good spring. And, I mean, are you really going to, if you're Philly, going to have Taijuan Walker in the starting rotation over Andrew Painter? Andrew Painter did make the rotation coming out of spring. Zach Wheeler, of course, starting on the injured list. I'm going to go Andrew Painter. I just think, some guys, yes. Okay, so he went through Tommy John. He's not throwing as hard, but this guy was considered like a pitching prodigy. I think he's going to figure it out. Plus, Zach Wheeler is his teammate who can teach him how to actually pitch instead of just throwing it by people. And I think that's important too, especially when you have diminished velocity that I put in quotes here, because he still throws 97. Okay. Now, my American League pick. And I saved this one for last on purpose because when Carson and I were putting this together behind the scenes, he looked at me like, "Are you sure about this one?" And I said, "Well, there's no darker horse candidate here. And I'm going to pick a guy who is 19 years old, plays for the Oakland Athletics, not Oakland, I get the Athletics Baseball Club, whatever they're called these days, the Sacramento Minor League Stadium Athletics. I'm going to go with Leo DeVries as my dark horse rookie of the year. This guy had an incredible spring, and I have his stats right here. Flew under the radar in 18 games during the spring as a 19-year-old. And mind you, he was the centerpiece of the Mason Miller trade last year. 3 homers, 10 runs scored, 12 RBI, 4 stolen bases. Okay, cool. He put up numbers. Here's what I like. 20% strikeout rate. 426 batting average. Yes, that came with a 500 BABIP, but he hit the ball. He was not overmatched at 19. Can he field his position too? He's got quite the leather on his left hand. I love Leo DeVries, especially long-term dynasty leaguers out there. If he for some reason is not rostered, go get him now. I was going to say put us down, but we're probably playing on your phone. Yeah. Go get him in your keeper leagues, your stashes, however you can. I think he's phenomenal. There's a very good chance that we see him later this year. That's why he's the darkest of dark horse picks. All right. So we've gone through Rookie of the Year, we've gone through Cy Young, and we've gone through MVP. Now we're going to go, and now keep in mind, Carson and I have not revealed this next part to each other. Who our World Series winners are, and we're going to tell you the World Series, American League pennant winner, National League pennant winner, and then how many games we think the winner of the World Series is going to be. And we did our best, or at least I did my best. I can't speak for Carson. I don't know. I didn't see his picks to not pick the Dodgers and the Yankees. So, Carson, who is your World Series pick this season?
Well, my World Series pick, I'll have to break it to you. I looked long and hard at the National League, and with all credit to the Mets, with all credit to, I think the Cubs have a pretty good chance and some stuff. Listen, I gotta be honest. The Dodgers are making it this year. I know, but listen. I thought long and hard about it. I really did. I was going back and forth, and I was like, they added Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz. I mean,
I
that
know.
pushes it over the edge for me. There's so much there. I had to. But in 6 games, I have the Dodgers losing to the
Ooh,
Boston Red Sox.
ew.
To the Boston Red Sox on the backs of Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, and a really excellent young team that has Sedan Rafaela in center field. Very, very good in real life defensively. Roman right field, I believe, left, right. I forget. He
Doesn't
roams the
matter.
corner outfield, and a just general team that's really solid all around. I like the Boston Red Sox. When the pitching, I think, is going to get it done. Aroldis Chapman looked sensational last year. I believe in him this year because the guy has a rubber arm. Red Sox over the Dodgers in 6 games.
I'm sorry. I mean this lovingly, but your picks make me want to vomit. Okay. I do. That hurts my soul, Carson. Okay, so like I said, I made a really good effort not to pick the Dodgers.
I'm not here to make friends, Eric. I'm here to talk ball.
I did really hard not to pick the Dodgers and the Yankees. So I went totally different. I picked the American League winner to be Seattle, which is not a far-fetched pick, I don't think.
I was so close to saying Seattle.
And I went with the National League pick. Now, I teased it earlier. I picked the Cincinnati Reds in the National League.
That's so fun. And
It's a fun pick.
It's a fun pick. It's I got to give you credit. That's a fun pick. So you know what? I think we can understand the Mariners. Obviously, they were, like a few runs away from the big dance last year. The Reds, how do they do it?
How? Hunter Green comes back mid-season after having the debris removed from his elbow. That's the only injury he has this season. He is the ace that we all thought he was going to be. Sal Stewart is a Rookie of the Year candidate. EDLC is an MVP candidate. And Eugenio Suarez hits 40 home runs while hitting 230, not 200. I think that 30 points of batting average is a bit different there. And so I think Cincinnati has a outside chance of actually being pretty decent and competing to go to the World Series. That being said, Seattle in 6.
Wow. All right. So
better pitching.
Eric saying Seattle over the Reds 4-2, and I have the Red Sox over the Dodgers 4-2 in 6 months. Do feel free to write us in and call us very silly or very intelligent, depending on how these picks went. Yeah.
I will say this. Do I think Cincinnati is going to be the World Series? Probably not, but I wanted to have fun with the picks.
Can see it.
It's not like I said the Pirates and the A's, which probably not going to happen.
That'd be so fun.
That would be a fun.
That'd be so
but
fun.
Either way, I don't think Major League Baseball would like my my picks for World Series because I don't think the ratings would be very high. Anyway, those are our World Series picks. Those are our Rookie of the Year picks. Those are our Cy Young picks, and those are our MVP picks. If you stay with us, which I hope you do, when we come back, we are going to talk about our draft results and kind of just discuss the players that we ended up drafting the most. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Shallows, the pod designed specifically for all you 10-team and smaller managers out there. We have set sail. It is opening day. The season has started. That means draft season basically over. I guess you could get your drafts in now and kind of miss maybe the first week, but that's all right. We think most people got them in on time. So we're going to talk about our draft results, who we ended up with on our teams in general. I did more drafts this year than I probably ever have done. I like to keep it to 2. This year I'm in 4, and there might be a 5th. So, Carson, tell us a little bit about some of the players that you ended up drafting a lot of.
I typically focus on a few leagues. I'm not a guy that plays in like 12 leagues. I just can't do it. No. You say, oh God, there are people that do in this podcast network, and I can do maybe 4 at most, really. But I like to keep my attention only to 1 or 2. And that's no different this year. I'm in a best ball in a regular league, but in both of those, I got Ketel Marte in the second round and James Wood in the third. Those two guys, I just felt at their position I had to take, and I took Logan Webb, I took Jacob deGrom, and I got Perdomo in the 6th round, and we were talking a little back and forth about what the right price is for him and how early he was going. I felt in a 6th round in a 12-teamer, so not quite a shallow league, but erring on the shallower side for this range. You can do the math if you want. In this league, I got both Chase Burns and Nolan McLean because
Woo!
I have to. I have to.
Nice.
What was really interesting for me was navigating the later rounds, which is always weird, but all this time thinking and different movements, pitchers coming back, the resurgence of Garrett Cole kind of threw things off. And you know what? In the 15th round, I said I've met my my measure for risk, and I took him. 15th round, Garrett Cole, a
That's
member
incredible.
of the Carson team.
That's amazing.
Last thing
No.
I'm going to say, I generally like to take some guys. If I'm confident maybe early in the draft, I do like to have some injury stashes and guys that I can get a lot later that I miss a month for, especially in head-to-head leagues where I can not punch the first few weeks, but I'm saying if I can go 500 the first 4 weeks and get some value later, those playoff rounds, I'm doing a Dodgers strategy, basically.
No, I agree. And we talked about that. Draft the IL stashes late if you can, or make them like you. Maybe if you had one, let's say you drafted one IL stash and you put them on the IL when whatever platform you're on finally decided to change the status to the injured list. Or actually, they kind of wait for Major League Baseball to do it. But let's say that player flipped to the IL. You put him on your IL spot. Well, now you have a free roster spot. This happened to me in one league. I only had one IL stash. I put this player on the IL, and then I was able to pick up another IL player, put them on the IL, and then I was able to fill the needs that I needed to from free agents after that. So I think it's a really important thing to do, especially in like head-to-head category weekly leagues or daily mover leagues. But like if you're playing, on a week-to-week basis against your opponent, to do that, because you're going to have quite the performer later in the season. Hunter Green went very late in a lot of my drafts as an injury stash. He is going to be back this season. So he was a very good injury stash. Schwellenbach went undrafted in the same vein, which I thought was interesting. He was the guy that I picked up off the wire. But I ended up with a lot of Jackson Holiday because this was the cheapest price he was going to be at, I think.
Yeah.
I ended up with a lot of Ketel Marte as well, just because second base, terrible.
He's our
guy. Favorite of the pod. If we could get him on this pod, that would be incredible.
I also
un poquito. I also ended up with a lot of Tyler Soderstrom. I thought he was a really good value at first base. Just because some people were grabbing the high-end first baseman very early, and I thought, okay, well, who's got the chance to kind of jump tiers? I thought Soderstrom was a very good pick to do that, and he didn't cost that much. And I also ended up with, I'm going to name two more guys. Samuel Basallo was a guy I ended up with a lot, and I teased this earlier in the show. I was not afraid to draft Basallo as a utility player.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, I did the same thing with Ivan Herrera. I'm not afraid to use either one of those guys as utility players because I think their bat transcends the catcher position to where they are going to be helpful no matter what. Herrera and Basallo are both going to play designated hitter. Basallo is going to play first base. And then I just think you're going to get good value out of them in your utility spot, especially if you have two utilities. Normally, if you have one, I like to put outfielder there. We kind of discussed that in one of our first two shows of the season. But I just thought at the value I could get those guys, Basallo was kind of forgotten in most of my drafts, and I don't know how. And then the last name I will name, and I've named all hitters at this point. This one too is your guy, Byron Buxton. I ended up with a lot of Buxton shares. People are afraid of the injury. It just in the 5th or 6th round, 30-30 upside, 265 batting average, 100 runs, 100 RBI. Like, how could you turn that down?
I mean, listen, you're preaching to the choir. I love Buck. I love him so much. Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of silly. Who do we got? It's a lot of the guys we've been talking about. But what was the weirdest pick for you? How about that? Which one did you get that was like maybe uncomfortable? Maybe you're like, I'll go for this guy. Sure.
Oh man. Okay, so that's a great question. I drafted. I don't know if I so much have like a sure I'll go for this guy type, because to me it was Buxton initially, because I
Mhm.
normally shy away from guys with such heavy injury histories. Um, I'll say that my sure I'll go for this guy was Ryan Pepio. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I know. Look, I know he just ended up on the IL before the season with hip inflammation. The Rays are saying it won't be a long stay. However, you can believe the Rays, right? But I thought the move back into the Trop would be helpful for him. And maybe he would just accumulate a little more value than he did last year. And I think where I drafted him was also really good. And I'll tell you in a second. I drafted him in the 10th round of a keeper league, so which 50 players were kept, and the way they're kept, that 10th round is really like the 15th round. So I thought it was a really good value to get Pepio, who could be a good, back into the rotation pitcher. And if he doesn't work out, he doesn't work out. But that was like I don't like this, but I'm gonna do it type pick.
yep, yep.
How about you? Same question to you.
I had a little weird turn at the I was picking 4th, right? So I'm a 4th and a 12 teamer, so a little kind of a slight
Weird
end of a
spot.
snake. Yeah, it's honestly I kind of like it, but
Okay.
it was right well, first round I got Wit, which, s-
Oh, fell to 4, huh?
yeah, yeah. It's, write it off, send it home, who cares? It's an on-base percentage league, but
Okay.
so, Soto. But yeah, I ended up taking in the 12th and 13th rounds. I took Spencer Torkelson and Wilson Contreras, which for
Nice.
me are just two guys I don't take. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever had a share in either of them. And they were Torkelson. I've never been that confident. I was like, okay, I can play with the ratios a little bit. And then Contreras also was like, I think he'll be good in Boston. And those are weird. Those are weird to me. I took Aroldis Chapman the round before that too, which I just believe in it. But again, 3 guys I don't think I've ever had a share of. Maybe Chapman for like half a year, but in the several years I've been playing fantasy baseball. So that was uncharted territory, uncharted
Nice.
waters.
Nice nautical term there. I okay, so this is actually the weirdest story of all my drafts that happened. We're doing a slow draft on Clicky Draft or whatever the
Yeah.
site. I've never drafted on there before. Shohei Ohtani was the first overall pick. We're going through this. It's actually the Pitcherless Community League. We're going through this draft, and all of a sudden we get to like the, I don't know, 8th or 9th round. And I noticed, you know who wasn't drafted yet?
Hmm.
Pitcher Shohei Ohtani.
Ha!
Because he wasn't in the player pool. So I was the lesson to everyone out there. Look at the player pool, pay attention, look at your league settings, okay? Because there were some picks that happened where I was like, well, pitchers aren't that valuable in this league, or relief pitchers aren't valuable at all because saves plus holds really diminishes the value of relievers, because a setup man could be more valuable than Mason Miller. Just saying. It happened last year, Abner Uribe. So I was looking and I noticed like there's no pitcher Ohtani in the pitching in the pool on this little clicky draft site. So I messaged the commissioner and I got Shohei Ohtani pitcher in like the 8th round. I got my number 2, possibly my number 1 pitcher that late in the draft. It was phenomenal. That was the weirdest thing that happened.
That's fun. I'm curious. We haven't talked about Ohtani as a pitcher at all. I mean, we haven't really talked about Shohei because, like, but
Yeah.
uh, but Shohei as a pitcher is going to be really interesting this year. How many innings do you think he throws?
140 to 150.
Pretty much exactly where I was. That's kind of I'm a little light. I think it's going to be more 130, 140 range, but I think like 135. That's kind of where my gut's at.
Yeah, I could see that, but we've never seen Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, be in like of no value. He's always been very good as a pitcher. Now,
Right.
as a hitter, he had a couple seasons where we were like, can he really hit? And then obviously he had the injury season where he had 55 home runs, stole 50 bases. And so we're like, oh, he's actually like a ridiculous hitter. But he's always been a phenomenal pitcher. And we saw the velo was there last year when he came back from Tommy John, his second Tommy John. Yes, the Dodgers are going to be very careful with him. They don't want him to miss time because then he'd miss time with the bat. I think you're looking at 140 to 150 innings with 180 plus strikeouts and an ERA somewhere around 3. You're looking at basically Tyler Glass now. Like a healthy Tyler Glass. That's a healthy Tyler Glass now season. That's what I really think you're going to get out of pitcher Ohtani. But you're right. We haven't really talked about him much. Any weird stories like that for you? Like somebody took I think it was Cade Anderson or whoever the second pick in the draft was last year.
Oh, yeah.
Not in a dynasty league.
That's, yeah. Thankfully, no one went quite that off the wall. I don't really know if there's anything super crazy. I'm trying to look right now. Chris Sale in the second, at the very end of the second, like was pretty high, and that got some interesting reactions. Probably the biggest reach of the draft in my eyes. 6 months, he's going to win another Cy Young, but for the most part, pretty ordinary, which is fine. Nothing too crazy. But I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy with how my team's turned out as well. One question for you.
Sure.
I know we're like through draft season here, but in a keeper league, not dynasty, and we're talking shallow keeper leagues, right? So we're talking like 220, 240 players.
Okay.
You could keep 6 and they get slotted in like the first 6 draft rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I kept all hitters. Is that crazy?
I don't think it's crazy. I think with pitchers, I mean, like you've got some guys, but I think generally that makes sense to me. I don't think you're that crazy for doing that, Eric. I think you're very anti-pitcher early. I know that. So
yeah,
any chance you get to short a pitcher, you'll take it. But no, I think that's all right. What hitters?
Buckle up.
Oh boy.
Kyle Tucker.
Yep.
Ronald Acuna.
Okay.
Austin Riley. Matt Olson. Wyatt Langford. Cal Raleigh.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I let Mookie go. I had Mookie for the last few years. I let Mookie go and kept Raleigh instead. And I also had Perdomo on that roster last year. Couldn't find a trade partner, which was weird for some teams in this league that don't have keepers of that nature. But what I thought that was really helpful to do is set up basically I need pitchers strategy. So I aimed for pitcher early in the draft because I had 6 hitters already set.
Sure. And diverse positions too. So I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always get worried because generally maybe, 5 hitters, 1 pitcher, but I ended up with Peralta and Yuri Perez as my 1-2.
Sure. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Can't really complain there. Bubba Chandler on that roster now.
Okay.
Also keeper league, saves plus holds. So, relievers not really worth much. Do you have any keeper dynasty leagues where you made maybe an interesting decision, like letting Mookie Betts go?
Well, I don't play any keeper leagues. I'm sorry to say. I do have my dynasty league. I don't think there's anything really that crazy, and it's a shallow league. This is a 14-team dynasty league. It's not too interesting. I am reminded I need to trade for a first baseman, so maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I need to do that quick. I'm flipping through it right now. I'm looking at who I got and what it is, and thankfully, no drama on my end.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So we'll check in with our teams throughout the season. I think it'd be really helpful to kind of give our experience to you guys, the listeners or the viewers, if you're watching us on YouTube, and really see how we're managing our teams, what decisions we have to make, not just, oh, there's this guy, let me go pick him up. Well, generally speaking, unless he's filling in for somebody that you put on the IL, you have to make a drop. And I can't wait to actually talk about that and to make the hard decisions, because in shallow leagues, yes, there's going to be players available on the wire, but is the opportunity cost to drop the guy that you have worth it? Because someone can scoop them up. So a little bit easier than some deeper leagues. So we will talk about that as the season goes on. But when we come back, our new segment, Charting the Course, where we have some do's and don'ts for the weeks ahead. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Shallows, the brand new segment we have for you, Charting the Course, some do's and don'ts as we head into the first weeks of the season. We're just going to rattle through these for you, give you why it's a do and why it's a don't. So, Carson, first up, we have do. Care about bat speed. Why?
Caring about bat speed is important because bat speed is just crucial to slugging, crucial to even just stuff like batting average, and caring about big fall-offs and rises up. You know what I'm saying. We're 15 minutes in, all right? The verbiage doesn't need to be perfect. Either way, bat speed is very, very important, and it stabilizes very, very quickly. In the span of a week, you're going to know pretty much that average bat speed. It's not going to flip around that much. And so early on here, if someone's looking way better than they were last year, jump at that, and vice versa.
Don't care about lineup position. Why?
Lineup position, and this is also one that depends on the manager, and I'm speaking a little bit from Twins experience here, where Rocco Baldelli used to shift around the lineups pretty much daily. And so some managers do it. Some managers, you put them in pen, and especially with your non-mainstay guys, don't get some guys, you put them in pen at the top of the leadoff position, that's fine. But if they're going to vary, especially early on, it could drop anywhere from, someone could be hitting cleanup, next day they're hitting eighth, and that's completely irrelevant of platoon matchups and stuff either. So I don't think you should care that much about it. Maybe a little bit on the very ends of the spectrum. If someone's hitting ninth, they're usually pretty low down there. But if someone's hitting seventh or eighth, I really don't think you should care that much.
Here's an example. Sal Stewart is set to start the season as the cleanup hitter, most likely, for the Reds. Will that last? Will it not? I don't know. Tito Francona was just playing around with lineups at the end of spring training. It would be great for his fantasy value if it did. Did not think about drafting him just because he was supposed to hit fourth. I'm looking more at the holistic player rather than where they're batting in the lineup. Do look at fastball velo, spikes, and dips. Why?
Yeah, this is something that, like bat speed, is just, it's important. It stabilizes quickly. And if someone's looking really good with their velocity or looking really bad with their velocity, that's just, I don't think it should be an instant drop if someone normally sitting 95 is sitting 93. But it's something to really keep an eye on. And if that persists, I don't think it's important to look at that for veterans in spring training, for instance, because spring training is weird and veterans just kind of use it to tinker with stuff. But for that first week, with one caveat we'll get to, fastball velo is just something you should pay attention to.
Don't look at opening day velocity spikes. Why?
Adrenaline. Opening day, starters and these guys, they have the ball, they're out there, and it's huge, right? This is oftentimes a landmark start for these guys, and it's going to be big. If they're sitting a tick up, don't look at that. That's a sample that is not trustworthy. Similar to how some guys have amplified velo in the postseason, just cool it for a moment. Second start, if it's still there, be more interested. First opening day, and just opening day, not the first start of the year for these guys, but just opening day, pump the brakes.
Do look at pitch mix. Why?
Some new pitches can be really interesting. How they use pitches, if they have an increased usage of a sinker against righties, for instance, or a changeup, anything like that. That can really be interesting to see how much an arsenal shifts year to year, and if that's conducive to more success. In a small sample like this, it can be, we're talking about the first week or so here, right? In a small sample, that can be a little interesting and shift throughout the year. But if a guy's getting a ton of whiffs with the sweeper and he keeps using that sweeper more, be heavily interested.
Don't look at swinging strike percentage for both hitters and pitchers. Why?
This is something that just takes a while to stabilize. It's a great stat. I like it a lot. And especially, paired with chase rate, this can be a really nice indicator of a player's plate discipline, their bat control, everything like that. But just this early, it is too noisy to be reliable. Look elsewhere.
I'm just going to slot one thing in here real quick. Who is the outfielder for the Orioles that has homered in like 4 or 5 consecutive
It's Tyler O'Neill.
Tyler O'Neill, right. Don't overreact to Tyler O'Neill. Moving on. Do look at extreme BABIP outliers. Why?
Because BABIP is something that A, takes a long time to stabilize, and B is, as I've written about, and we'll have an article coming out next week, Hank, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That's a plug.
Indeed. BABIP is something that is super context dependent, is super noisy, and is something that needs a long time to stabilize. And it's for pitchers, it's dependent on kind of where you throw the ball. For batters, it's dependent on all sorts of different things on exit field and launch field, and just these things that take too long. In a week and a half, you're not going to know. So look at the outliers. If someone's hitting 480 on their BABIP, it's not going to sustain at all. You should expect serious regression. On the flip side, if it's like 120, it's going to go up. It has to go up. Be careful about context, but look at the outliers.
Don't look at the length of start for pitchers returning from injury. Why?
Because they're going to ramp up. And for these guys, they want to be really cautious. Remember, baseball is a marathon. We're in March. It's not a sprint. Any of these guys returning from pretty serious injuries, they're going to be really cautious because they don't want to flare out in the first lap, so to speak, of a 100-lap race. Just, again, pump the brakes, wait, and it'll ramp up over time. If a pitcher's coming from injury and they throw 65 pitches, it's all right. Care about the stuff more than the volume.
Do care about bullpen roles. Why?
Bullpen roles. Now, this is something that is manager dependent, and this shifts a lot, but generally by this time, a manager has their closers and they've got their setup guys. That's pretty much locked in to an extent. If there's really serious changes in their performance, things will shift, but as long as nothing's crazy, a closer is going to be a closer.
Yeah. If you're in saves plus holds leagues, though, very important to see who is going to be the 7th, 8th inning guy who's going to collect those statistics. And yes, that can change throughout the year. But the great thing is those players have lower value in those leagues, so you can just add drop them kind of at will. And our last one here, don't pay attention to stolen bases. Why?
We actually looked this up before the show. Juan Soto, who had 38 stolen bases last year. Juan Soto, in the month of April and into March, in 31 games, had 2 stolen bases. TWO, number 2. And, stolen bases, sometimes, guys, there's too much noise. You don't know. Some guys have base stealing habits that pick up over the year. Sometimes they fall off over the year. Injuries happen if someone's feeling a little sore, some tender, even just not even getting on base that often. These things are not sticky. Don't care about it that early. Steals guys are going to be steal guys, and you'll know who they are. Anything else, it's not worth paying attention to at this stage in the season.
I will say this. For stolen bases, maybe look at team context as a whole. If the team is running less as a whole, maybe pay attention to that, but don't overreact, right? Like Ellie's still going to run. Guys are going to run who don't run. It's April or March, technically. It's early. It's still cold. Maybe some guys don't want to pull the hammies, running early. It's just, weird things happen in April. Weird things you want to pay attention to, weird things you don't want to pay attention to. But I'll say this, do not overreact, period. It's early. Simple as that.
The one thing I will overreact to, though? Eric, it is dang good to have baseball back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Woo!
Yeah, we can overreact to that 100%. I love it. It is so exciting. By the time you're listening or watching this, games for every team will have taken place. But tonight we've got Yankees Giants. As we're recording this, it's going to happen within a couple hours. It's very exciting. I am so looking forward to it. Let's overreact to baseball being back every single day of the week. Let's go. All right, that will do it for us. We're going to wrap it up right there. We'll be back next Friday with a brand new episode. And remember, the completely overhauled draft assistant, which you should have been using, is out there. So if you have any drafts left, sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro, and you'll get that if you have any drafts left. But if not, good luck this season. Don't overreact. It's April, technically March. It's hard to say baseball in March. This is a new thing over the last couple of years, but it is the beginning of the season. This is an exciting time. Don't overreact to what players are doing or not doing, but do overreact to baseball being back. To make sure you never miss an episode of this show, The Shallows, please subscribe. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. He's Carson Picard at Carson Picard on Blue Sky. I'm Eric Henriksen at Eric that's Eric with a K on Blue Sky or Twitter, reminding you that murky waters are fine if you know how to swim. And if not, we'll throw that little ring thing on the side of the boat to you so that you don't float out to Devin Williams and Zach Wheeler. See you next time in The Shallows.
Take care, everybody.